if I told you that right now, right beneath your feet, Newcastle upon Tyne is quietly transforming street by street, brick by brick. Welcome back to your fortnightly Newcastle construction and restoration update, where we visit all the usual spots, uncover what's changed and track the progress shaping the future of the city. Also this week I have news on the subways which run under the 55 degrees north roundabout, which I mentioned in a video a long time ago now, so stay tuned to the end of the video for that. So we are starting our tour around the city this week, as usual at Castle Leazes, where construction of the new Students' Village continues to move forward at an incredible pace. Every time we return, the amount of work completed in just 2 weeks is remarkable, and this latest visit is certainly no exception. As we pan round the front of the development, you can immediately see how much additional steelwork has been erected since our last update. The different sections are beginning to link together like a giant makeover set, connecting several of the concrete lift and stair cores across the site. This is the point where the scale or the overall shape of the development are becoming much easier to understand. What previously looked like a collection of separate structures is now starting to become one enormous interconnected building. As we move round to the front of the construction site, we can still see plenty of corrugated steel floor decking stacked and ready to be installed. These sheets will be laid between the steel beams to help form the individual floors of the buildings. With materials positioned in several locations, it appears the teams are preparing to extend the floor areas across even more of the structure. Moving back around to the front, we can see another important stage of the construction beginning. The first sections of the exterior cladding have now been fitted, while new window frames have also started to appear across the front of the building. These details might seem small compared with the huge steel framework, but they give us the first real glimpse of how the completed students' accommodation could eventually look. Looking around the side, the first few external frames have also been installed here, showing that work on the building's outer shell is beginning to spread around the development. Towards the rear of the site, there's been another dramatic transformation. During our previous visit, some of these concrete lift and stair cores were only just beginning to emerge from the ground. 2 weeks later, they have already risen significantly higher and now tower above this section of the construction site. These cores will eventually provide essential access through the buildings, while also helping support and stabilise the surrounding steel structure. Despite so much of the development already rising into the Newcastle skyline, there's still a considerable amount of foundation work taking place at ground level. In one area, it looks as though another concrete core is being prepared, meaning yet another part of the Students' Village could soon begin growing upwards. It is fascinating to watch the project develop in stages. In one direction, teams are still working on foundations, while elsewhere, windows and cladding are already being installed. Finally, looking towards the top of the main structure, we can see additional metal framework beginning to appear around the roofline. This is adding even more height and definition to the building, helping to reveal the final outline of this part of the development. With the steel sections joining together, new floors being created, windows appearing and additional cores rising from the ground, Castle Leazes is changing rapidly. We are now down at Leazes Park Road, where the new students' accommodation has officially been completed. If you've been watching these updates for a while, you'll know just how much this site has changed. Before construction began, the former bark and stonehouse furniture store had to be demolished. Once the building had disappeared, the site was cleared and work began on this major new development. Over the following months, we watched the foundations go in, the structure rise higher and higher, and on the outside of the building gradually take shape. It has been a fascinating project to follow from the very beginning, but now the builders have finished, the fences have come down, and the development is ready for its new residents. We'll begin at the front of the development, The first thing you notice is just how different the site looks now that all the construction materials and temporary fencing have been removed. As we make our way around to the rear of the building, it's a similar story. The entire site has been cleaned and tidied. All the remaining signs of construction have disappeared. One of the main features here is the completed basketball area, where students will be able to get outside and practice their shooting skills. It gives the residents somewhere to exercise, socialise and enjoy a bit of fresh air without having to leave the development. New tables and chairs have also been positioned around the courtyard, are now ready to use. These outdoor areas should become popular places for students to meet, relax and spend time together, especially when Newcastle gets some decent weather. Some on the ground floor flats even have their own small private seating areas. It's a nice finishing touch and gives the students living on the lower level a little outdoor space of their own. Moving around on the Leazes Park Road itself, everything here has also been cleared. The pavement is open, the construction barriers have gone and the whole area now looks more organised. A small number of new bollards have been installed along the edge of the footpath, helping separate the development from the pedestrian area. This is where you can really see how much of an impact the development has had on its surroundings. For several years this part of the road was dominated by demolition and construction work. Now the project complete, the street has a completely different appearance. The finishing touch is the new sign displaying the name of the development, Strawberry Buildings. But the sign doesn't only tell us the new name, it also acknowledges the history of the land beneath it. Along the bottom it explains that this was the historic site of the printers Andrew Reed and Company. It's only a small detail, but it creates an important link between the modern development and the site's industrial past. The buildings may change, but little reminders like this help preserve the stories of the people and businesses that once occupied these sites. And there we have it, the completed Strawberry Buildings students accommodation development on Leazes Park Road. The site has gone from the former Bark and Stonehouse furniture store through demolition and several years of construction to the finished building we see today. We are now back down at Pottery Lane to check in on the latest progress of the new Potter's Wharf apartment development. We'll begin by heading up here on the Redger Bridge, where we can get a much better view across the entire site. From this elevated position we can see right across the back of Potter's Wharf. Initially everything appears to be much the same as it was during our previous update. However, there are a few important changes when we look more carefully. One of the most notable differences is around the area where the new paving and external spaces are expected to sit. Soil has now been laid in one of those sections, which could be an early sign that work on the landscaping and finishing touches around the outside of the development is beginning to progress. Looking towards the tallest part of the development, even more of the scaffolding has now been removed. Every time another section of scaffolding comes down, we get a clearer view of the finished building underneath and gives us a much better idea of how the completed development will eventually look. The Potter's Wharf sign, however, still appears to need some additional work before it is completely finished. Another change can be seen in the brickwork. During our previous visit, several gaps were still visible in the brick facade. Those gaps have now been filled, giving this section of the building a much more complete and finished appearance. We're now moving back down to Pottery Lane itself to see what is happening at ground level. This is where you can get a closer look at the remaining infrastructure work, the retaining walls and the materials still waiting to be used. At the arena end of Pottery Lane, major utility work is still taking place. The road and surrounding ground remain heavily disturbed, showing just how much infrastructure work is required to connect the development of this size to necessary services. A new trench for electrical feed has also been opened up on this side of the road. Although much of the work will eventually be hidden underground, it is an essential part of preparing the apartments for occupation. Work to cover the retaining wall with the brickwork is still not complete. There is also a considerable amount of scrap metal waiting to be taken away from the site, and at the same time plenty of unused construction materials remain staged along the Pottery Lane, ready to be used for the next phases of work. The mixture of waste materials being removed and new materials waiting to be installed shows that it's still very much an active construction site. Further on, groundworks are continuing around the far end of the site. The final few exterior panels are also being fitted above the doorways. Once these panels are in position, the entrances should begin to look much more complete. Work is also continuing along the retaining wall on this side of the development as well. There are still several unfinished areas, but the overall appearance of Potter's Wharf is gradually changing as the remaining exterior details are completed. That brings us to the end of this latest look at Potter's Wharf. We are now moving down to Carliol Square to take a closer look at the two office blocks forming part of the Pilgrim Place development. So let's see what's changed since our last update 2 weeks ago. We'll begin at the lower end of the construction site. Looking up the side of the first building, you can immediately see that the brickwork has continued to climb higher up the structure. Several sections behind the scaffolding now appear to be complete, helping the exterior move another step closer to its finished appearance. Down at ground level, utility work has recently been taking place. The trench that we saw here has now been filled back in, suggesting that this particular stage of the underground work has been completed. It might not be the most visually dramatic part of the development, but the work like this is essential before the surrounding ground level areas can be finished. If we look all the way up the top of the building, another important change can be seen. The first sections of the brickwork have now been installed at the highest level. This is a significant milestone because the brick exterior is no longer limited to the lower and middle floors. It's now beginning to spread across the almost full height of the building. Looking along the side elevation, more insulation has now been fitted since our previous visit. The contrast between the exposed structure, insulation panels and completed brickwork gives us a useful view of the different stages involved in construction the building's exterior. The gap between the two office blocks is another area where visible progress is being made. Here, the brickwork is steadily climbing higher up the structure, gradually covering more of the unfinished exterior. This is a relatively narrow section of the site, but is now beginning to look much more complete than it did during our earlier updates. On the neighbouring building, the installation of the glass panels is still ongoing. Down towards the bottom, the first sections of framework have also been installed. This framework will help define the building's lower level frontage as work continues. With the brickwork progressing on the building and glass being installed on the other, the two office blocks are now developing their own distinctive finished appearance. Moving around onto the Warwick Street side of the development, there does not appear to have been a great deal of visible change during the last 2 weeks. Everything here looks much the same as it did during our previous update. Of course, that does not necessarily mean that work has stopped. A large amount of construction activity can take place inside the building without producing any obvious changes to the exterior. As we continue to the rear of the site, the first building above the ground also looks largely unchanged from 2 weeks ago. However, as we pan across towards the second building, the difference becomes much clearer. This building is starting to develop a far more finished appearance. With more of its exterior materials now in place, it is becoming easier to imagine how the completed development will eventually look. Down in the bottom corner, we can see one of the most interesting details in this update. This small completed section gives us a good indication of what the building's final design, including how the different exterior materials, windows and framing will work together. The glass panels that we saw installed beneath the first building during our previous visit also now appear to be complete. This is another relatively small change, but when all these individual details are combined, the whole development begins to take a much closer look of a finished project. So 2 weeks since our last visit, the biggest changes at Pilgrim Place include more brickwork across the first building, additional insulation along the side elevation, continued glass installation on the second office block, and further progress around the lower levels. We're back on Northumberland Street in Newcastle city centre for a quick update on the ongoing pavement improvement works. As you can see, work is still continuing along the lower section of Northumberland Street. Construction barriers remain in place, sections of the pavement are still being worked on, and there appears to be quite a bit left to complete before this part of the street is fully reopened. The project is intended to improve the appearance and condition of one of Newcastle's busiest shopping streets, creating a more attractive and accessible route through the city centre. In my previous update 2 weeks ago, I mentioned that Newcastle City Council had indicated the work would take at least another month to complete. That means there could now only be around 2 weeks remaining before the suggested completion point. However, judging by what we can see here today, I have to be honest, it looks like reaching that target could be a challenge. There still appears to be plenty of work taking place along the lower section, and it is difficult to imagine everything being completed, cleared and reopened within the next fortnight. At the beginning of the video, I mentioned the old subways surrounding the 55 degrees north roundabout. If you have been following the channel for some time, you may remember me revealing that the subways were due to receive a major makeover. The first and most notable improvement is the painting of the subway walls. These passageways had become increasingly tired, grubby and uninviting, so even a fresh coat of paint has made a notable difference. However, some sections are being given a little more than just a fresh coat of paint. Inside this subway, it appears that artificial greenery is being installed along one of the walls. It is certainly an unusual feature for an underground pedestrian route. But the biggest transformation can be found in the longer subway further around the roundabout. This subway has effectively been transformed into an underground art gallery. Along its length, you'll find 39 individual pieces of artwork created by art students from Newcastle College. The designs were inspired by the pop art movement of the 1960s, which was famous for its bright colours, bold shapes and imagery influenced by popular culture. Unfortunately, there is already a problem. As I walked through the newly decorated subway, I noticed that graffiti had already appeared on some of the walls. It is disappointing to see this happening so soon, particularly after the students have spent time creating the artwork and the area has finally received some attention. These subways were previously covered in graffiti, so the big question is, how long will this makeover last before the walls are covered once again? Your guess is as good as mine. Hopefully the council and those responsible for maintaining the area will keep on top of the new graffiti and remove it quickly before the problem gets out of control. Despite that concern, this is still a positive improvement. The fresh paint, artificial greenery and 39 pieces of student artwork have brought the area back to life. And that brings us to the end of this update. If you've enjoyed the video, please leave a comment with your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you think about the projects we've covered today. And don't forget to give the video a massive thumbs up because it really helps the channel grow. If you've not already done so, please consider subscribing to 55 Degrees North and hit that bell notification for when I release more videos. A massive thank you for watching. I will see you next time, right here on 55 Degrees North.